Your life as an actor is always in eras. That was then, and this is now.
What have I done? What came over me? Who am I? Those were Sally Field's own words, reflecting on a lifetime spent in front of cameras, chasing truth through characters that made the world laugh, cry, and believe. For over 5 decades, she was the heart of Hollywood. Fiery, funny, and profoundly human. From the sun-kissed beaches of Gidget to the emotional depths of Norma Rae and Forrest Gump, Sally gave everything she had to every role. But behind her luminous smile lies a story filled with pain, courage, survival, and quiet strength. Today, whispers about her health and her retreat from public life have made fans wonder, is Sally Field saying goodbye to Hollywood, or simply choosing peace after a lifetime of giving? A childhood that shaped a fighter, Sally Field was born on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California, to actress Margaret Field and World War II veteran Richard Field. When her parents divorced, her mother remarried actor and stuntman Jock Mahoney, a name that would later become a haunting chapter in Sally's memoir, In Pieces. The young girl who cheered at Birmingham High School carried heavy emotional scars that she couldn't share for decades. Yet those early struggles also gave her the empathy that would later define her performances. She learned to survive by observing people, their kindness, their cruelty, their contradictions, and that emotional radar became her greatest tool as an actress. Breaking into the spotlight, television opened its doors first. Sally's bubbly charm as the teen surfer in Gidget, 1965-66, made America fall in love with her. Then came The Flying Nun, 1967-70, a light-hearted series that showcased her warmth but trapped her in a role she couldn't outgrow. Hollywood saw her as the cute girl next door. Sally knew she was capable of more. Refusing to be typecast, she studied acting seriously and began to take roles that scared her, raw, complex, emotionally charged. Her breakout came with the 1976 TV film Sybil, where she portrayed a woman living with multiple personalities. The performance won her an Emmy and announced to the industry that Sally Field was not just charming, she was extraordinary. 3 years later, Norma Rae changed everything. Playing a Southern mill worker who leads a union fight, she won her first Academy Award and the admiration of working women everywhere. 5 years later, she earned her second Oscar for Places in the Heart, cementing her legacy as one of Hollywood's most respected leading ladies. The woman behind the award's success didn't erase the pain that lingered from her past. Sally used her art as both shield and confession, pouring truth into every performance, from the tearful resilience of Steel Magnolias to the maternal compassion of Mrs. Doubtfire and Forrest Gump. Her characters were always real women, messy, brave, and utterly human, because that's who she was. Even as she conquered film, she never abandoned television or theater. She won more Emmys for ER and Brothers and Sisters, played Mary Todd Lincoln opposite Daniel Day-Lewis, and even made her Broadway debut. Every stage, every set, every script, Sally gave herself completely. Love, loss, and the search for self off-screen. Sally's life was as dramatic as any of her films. She married her high school sweetheart Stephen Craig and had 2 sons, Peter and Eli, before they divorced in 1975. Later came a marriage to producer Alan Greisman and their son Sam. Both unions ended, but her devotion as a mother never wavered. Romance brought both joy and heartbreak. Her relationship with Burt Reynolds, which began during Smokey and the Bandit, became one of Hollywood's most talked-about love stories, passionate, turbulent, and ultimately painful. Years later, Sally would describe it candidly as a relationship that taught her hard lessons about self-worth. There were lighter moments too, brief connections, almost dates, and friendships that lasted a lifetime. Among them was her enduring bond with director Steven Spielberg. The two never became a couple, but their affection and mutual respect endured for decades. When she spoke about him at an awards ceremony, her eyes sparkled with warmth. "My beloved Stephen has never left my life." The kindness of Robin Williams. One of Sally's most touching memories came from her time filming Mrs. Doubtfire with Robin Williams. During production, she received devastating news: her father had passed away. Trying to stay professional, she quietly prepared for her next scene until Robin noticed something was wrong. Without hesitation, he went to the crew and rearranged the day's schedule so she could go home. It was a moment that showed the gentle, compassionate side of a man, famous for making others laugh. Years later, Sally said, "He was so intuitive, so kind." There will never be another Robin standing up and speaking out. As the years went on, Sally found her voice not just in acting, but in advocacy. She spoke openly about women's rights, reproductive freedom, and equality, causes shaped by her own experiences. Her candor inspired generations of women who saw in her both vulnerability and courage. Then, in 2005, she faced another personal challenge. After a routine checkup, Sally was diagnosed with osteoporosis, a disease that weakens bones over time. She admitted she had no symptoms and no warning. "My bones were quietly getting thinner," she told WebMD. Instead of hiding it, she used her platform to raise awareness. Her Rally with Sally for Bone Health campaign encouraged women to get tested early and to talk to their doctors about prevention. She turned her diagnosis into a mission to help others. Aging with grace. Unlike many in Hollywood, Sally never chased youth with surgery or filters. She chose honesty over perfection. "I see myself on TV and say, 'Oh, I wish that weren't happening to my neck,'" she once laughed. "But this is me." Her acceptance of age became part of her message. Beauty is not the absence of wrinkles, it's the presence of authenticity. Unfortunately, not everyone shared her wisdom. Online critics occasionally targeted her appearance, proving how cruel fame can be. But Sally refused to let bitterness in. She had survived far worse, and she knew her value wasn't measured by public opinion. "What matters," she said, "is that I'm here, I'm working, and I'm living the life I fought for." A near tragedy and a mother's courage. Few people know how close Sally once came to losing everything. In 1988, she, her husband, and their infant son were aboard a private plane that crashed during takeoff. Covered in jet fuel but miraculously alive, she clutched her baby and refused to let go. Later she admitted, "It makes no sense that we survived." I have to live with that feeling every day. That moment deepened her sense of gratitude and the maternal instinct that has guided her ever since. Choosing peace over pressure. In recent years, Sally has stepped quietly away from Hollywood's relentless pace. Her final major film appearance came in 2023's 80 for Brady, a light-hearted comedy that reminded fans of her comedic timing and warmth. Since then, she's spent more time at home with her family and her beloved dog, Dash. When photographers spotted her walking through Los Angeles in 2024, casual clothes, sun hat, no makeup, fans remarked how peaceful she looked. Yes, she seemed thinner, older, perhaps a bit frail, but there was also serenity in her smile. She posts occasionally on social media, mostly about civic causes and the environment. In one post she wrote simply, "This is me and this is my dog. Vote for our children and grandchildren." It wasn't a celebrity statement, it was a grandmother's plea for kindness, what keeps her. Strong through every triumph and trial, one constant has sustained Sally Field, her children. She often calls them her 3 miracles. They grew up watching her balance stardom with motherhood, and in recent interviews she credits them with saving her life more than once. They remind her to rest, to eat well, to laugh. "My kids are my grounding," she said. "They're my home." Even as her appearances become rarer, her legacy continues to ripple across generations. Younger actresses often cite Sally as the blueprint for emotional honesty on screen. Proof that vulnerability can be more powerful than glamour. A legacy written in honesty, Sally Field's story isn't just one of awards or celebrity. It's the story of a woman who turned pain into purpose. She has lived through heartbreak, illness, aging, and public scrutiny, yet she never let any of it define her. Her courage has always been quiet, found in small gestures, heartfelt performances, and her refusal to pretend. When asked what keeps her going, Sally once said, "You don't stop because it gets hard. You keep moving because life is still beautiful." That spirit, resilient, funny, and real, is why audiences have loved her for more than 50 years. Conclusion: Sally Field may be stepping back from the spotlight, but her light hasn't dimmed. Whether walking her dog on a quiet Los Angeles street or standing on stage accepting another award, she remains the same woman who made the world believe in the strength of ordinary people. Her legacy isn't measured by box office numbers or magazine covers. It lives in every heart she touched through her work and her truth. She once said that acting allowed her to feel seen. But for millions who grew up watching her, Sally Field was the one who helped us feel seen, imperfect, brave, and human. And maybe that's the most beautiful role she'll ever play.